So, hello everyone, my name's Richard Cole. I've just got 10 minutes to tell you about something I'm really passionate about. And that's a new perspective on why people argue. So I'm going to start with a quote, which is, "Our loved one is our shelter in life." Isn't that a lovely quote? It just connects us to our hearts. So what happens is that we have a great need for each other, and we form bonding with each other in the form of romantic relationships. And after lots of research in the past 20 years, there's been a new movement of attachment called attachment theory. And it's basically saying that we bond with each other, that we, as human beings, we're wired to connect. We need each other. And when couples argue, which I see on a daily basis as a relationship counsellor, what it's really about is how frightened we are to be vulnerable to each other. So let me explain. Basically, when we're children, we make a deep connection to our parents, especially to our mother, and that same need of having a safe haven, the need to feel that we're loved, that goes on into adult life and our adult relationships. So what it comes down to is we have some basic needs. We want to know, are you there for me when I need you? Have you got my back? Are you going to be there for me when I'm feeling vulnerable, when I need some support? And in arguments, that's what's going on underneath. That's the code. That's the big secret. That you're there with your partner and you're banging on about the content, but really underneath, we've got attachment needs, and something's been rattled and panic sets in. So when I came across this amazing book called Hold Me Tight, which is the author's Dr. Sue Johnson, who's the founder of the kind of therapy I do, which is called emotionally focused couples therapy. It talks about these phrases of, are you there for me when I need you? Have you got my back? And that really struck me. It made me ask some questions about, what about the man code? I've worked so hard to be tough and strong. And gosh, if I show my feelings to my partner, she's going to think I'm a real wimp. I'm meant to be alpha man. And I thought it was all about being independent. So to realise that the truth is we're interdependent of each other, and that's okay. And it also brought up for me, well, what does it mean to be grown up if I've got these young feelings and I want to talk to my partner about them? How do I do that? And then I just got into the detail, which is, I need to parent myself, but I don't need to be switched on all the time. Sometimes I can ask for support, and that's okay. And that gives me freedom, really, because I don't need to be the strong man all the time. So let's go back to arguments. So really what I'm positing that when arguments happen, it's really an attempt to reconnect. It's a desperate attempt to reconnect without feeling vulnerable. So I imagine you know how it goes. I see this on a daily basis. Couples criticize and blame. People test each other. Are you really there for me? Do you really care? People withdraw. Lots of demands are made. There's lots of you always, you never. It goes on and on and on. And what's actually happening is what's been described as a primal panic sets in. We're wired to connect, and when we feel our partner, we're losing them. When we feel we're not special to them, when we feel they don't care, then we just get triggered. Wham! It happens so quick. And then we try and defend ourselves. We get into the you. It feels as if so much is at stake. And research has been done on this, and in this book it describes it as we get into demon dialogues, and it describes how there are a set number of patterns where couples kind of reinforce each other's insecurities. So one pattern is attack, which is often sort of called, who's the bad guy? And we're all familiar with this. It sort of becomes a competition to see, who's the worst person, but you did this, and you did this. No, but you did this. And it's very hard to sort of stay on the wound in question It just bounces back and forwards. So that's attack, attack. And another favourite is attack, withdraw. The classic of this is one person's pursuing. I'm in Brighton, so I've got to be very PC and not talk about men and women. But one person's pursuing and the other's withdrawing. And so there's lots of protest, and that protest is all about, are you there for me? Can I count on you? Do I feel safe with you? So moving on to now the next bit, which is, well, what do we do about this? How do we connect? How do we connect after an argument? So the first thing us relationship counsellors try and do is to help couples to see how it's a co-created cycle. So when someone comes in, they're just, my partner's never there for me. Protest, protest, protest. It's helpful to point out that that protest comes across as a demand and it scares the partner off. So they start withdrawing, and that makes the one that's protesting feel even more frightened. So they protest even more, and you can see the cycle. So the first thing to realise, the take home for you guys, is to see when you're going, it's your fault, to really see that actually we get into a pattern. We're in this together, we reinforce it. And we're just human. We get into a pattern, and seeing that really helps. And the way I describe that, it's a bit like getting out of the tennis match and getting into the stands so you can see the whole game. Oh, I'm getting it now. When I do this, it triggers you. It makes you feel insecure that I don't love you. And then what you do is you protest. Oh, I'm getting that. And when you protest, I feel I'm not good enough, so I withdraw. And off we go. So let me see, what else do I have here? Yeah, I imagine a good question would be, well, hang on, my partner, they just withdraw all the time. I don't see them need to connect to me. It's really confusing. And that's true. Some people manage their attachment by needing to keep things safe. They need to have things in manageable chunks. These people easily feel that they're not enough, that they can't provide enough, that they won't be loved for who they are. So they often withdraw. And the way through this is just to slow things down and set up easy wins. To sort of say, it really helped me if I could just talk to you for 10 minutes when I get home. Just to know that what that would provide me with, it would make me feel close to you. I won't be talking all night. I won't be pulling your ear. We can sit down and watch TV afterwards, but just 10 minutes where you listen to what I say and you hear me. That would mean so much to me. That would make me feel you cared. So that would really help. If you have a partner that you feel, oh, it's like a classic, my partner's always nagging me. There's always something. It just goes on and on and on. The secret there is called active listening. It's to show you're hearing what they're saying. And that looks like, let me see if I'm getting this. So I'm hearing, when I did this, when I didn't put the bins out, you felt I didn't care about you. Gosh, then the validating step, that makes sense. I'm really getting it. Really, given how you're seeing it, it really makes sense that you'd feel like that. And then the big one, just taking a bit of responsibility. I'm sorry, I messed up. That isn't so hard to do. But it can do at the time. But it just really, sometimes it's amazing when that happens. It just stops the partner dead. They just can't believe it that their partner's actually fessing up and taking responsibility. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Okay. So I've only got 10 minutes. I'm going to recap now. So what I'm trying to get across is that the code, the secret code under arguments, is that we're all vulnerable underneath. And we all have our radar out of, do you love me? Have you got my back? Am I important to you? So if you could just take away when your partner's chewing you out or criticizing you, underneath, that's probably what's going on. Am I important to you? Am I special to you? And that vulnerability connects. If we can just be really clean and just say, I'm feeling scared, or I really want to connect with you, but I don't know how to do it. Please help me. Please help me how we can connect. So that's really the nub of it. So just to finish off, in my time I went to public speaking classes, and this amazing coach says you need to really think about what you want your audience to think, feel and do when you do a talk. So my hope, my wish is that you'll go away thinking, it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to want a secure bond. And what I'd like you to feel is, I'd like you to be touched by our mutual humanness, to know that you're important to your partner, and they're important to you, and that's okay. And what I'd like you to do is to see the code. Spread the word. So, yes. Don't worry about it. Yes, spread the word that we need each other, that there's an attachment message underneath. And I want to share that if you have a friend that's in trouble, because we're not allowed to need help in a relationship, then I'm just down the road. I'm in Hove. Tell them about me. Or if you'd like to come with your partner, I run courses with my colleagues. They're called Hold Me Tight, after the book. I've got leaflets there on the table. Here we go. And my website's on the back of some of the leaflets. So I hope that's given you something to think about. Thank you.